Oh my god, you're not going to believe this. I've just had a message. Apparently my mic hasn't been broadcasting. You can hear me now. So for the next time, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what an intro I had and everything. Rob, just thank you for letting me know there. I just clocked on what it was. Oh, I've had a nightmare to begin with. So to round up, 20 corners, lots of history. There's 3 drivers in the loop. It's going to be mental.
I'm just going to respond yes, because I don't know what we spoke about.
Yep, the insults flying in already. We're here.
I get messages everywhere. Nathan on PSN going, tell Scott to unmute his mic, the doughball. So, you know, the technical difficulties for both of us is fine.
Oh, it's been absolutely... it's been horrendous. Do you know what that is? That is from live streaming, just me doing my own little thing and not having my voice wanting shared because, well, we know me. I've got a little bit of Scottish anger in me. I say a few loud and noisy things. So, aye. Should be all good now. Thank you all for joining us. Again, summarise, Mark Wilson, SUFC and Victor Mean. Every one of them can win the title tonight. 11 points separate them, 31 points available, and what was it, sorry, Dan?
I think we had our first on-track retirement. I think Temple's had a bit of a stinker already.
Yes, IRT Temple, the driver formerly known as iConnects, of course. Not a new driver to us, just a new name as Wuban gets loosey-goosey round turn 16 in the Haas. So the first lap times crawling in here in this slightly wet session, Dan. I feel as if I'm repeating myself, but of course I'm only repeating it to me. You, everybody else hasn't heard it yet. Yeah, Temple, the first on-track retirement. Mark Wilson, you might think, why is he retired? Now, I don't know if I've said this when you can hear me. Qualifying ban from an incident last week and the disqualification means that this whole battle is up in the air and it's going to be a really, really tasty one. Wuban up the line in a 58.8. I've not a clue what we're expecting for pole times here, folks. Sadly, the weather has played a little bit into that and I'm not quite sure. But, Dan, championship contenders, there's plenty of them. One of them is going to start at the back. The other two, second and third, are going to get a run at quali. And what a better driver to ride on board them with for a nice flying lap, hopefully, than SUFC. Of course, the driver in P3, he led it up until a couple of weeks ago. He's 11 off the top as Murphy. Oh, go on, the Murph. 15-2 for him. There'll be celebrations for that. I'm just going to, if you bear with me, I don't know if it'll come up. Yeah, it will come up the pause screen. Change my audio settings ever so slightly. Again, me doing me things. It might not be great, and hopefully you can hear Dan a bit better now. But Murphy then putting in a 55-2, Dan. SUFC, he's been a great qualifier, a great racer. 4 victories this season, 5 thirds. Not a single second, according to my research. So either kind of all, a little bit of all, or absolutely nothing for him. There is, of course, Dan, the scenario where we get 3 drivers on equal points, maybe 2 drivers on equal points, and it could be any 2 of the 3. Countback rulings then, we'll get this out of the way nice and early, so we will of course explain it if it comes into effect again, but the first deciding factor is wins. Now Mark Wilson has 2, Victor Mean has 2, SUFC has 4. Then it's highest finished position of the season. Now of course they've all won, that's all equal on first. Then it's DNFs. Mark Wilson has had 1, Victor Mean has 2, so therefore the tie-break order, SUFC, Mark Wilson, then Victor Mean. So in a 3-way title, that is where it would end up going. And that would be heartbreak to lose a title on then. SUFC, first lap, where's he going to put it on?
Yeah, whoa, wow.
Did we expect much less?
Absolutely not, no. I do. You're mentioning 3-way title fights, and it's just throwing me back to the Piston Cup, Scott. I'm getting flashbacks.
Well, I'm not quite sure, and it's an interesting thing because it will be a new championship holder, so we can't really compare anybody to being the king.
No,
none of our drivers.
We do have a red, a blue. I want to say a green in Victor Mean. I don't know. It's sort of silver, isn't it? It's a bit of a reach. But we do have blue in Mark Wilson, red in SUFC, and then I'm gonna call Victor Mean.
It's a kind, yeah. It's a kind of, it's a green.
That's the colourblind coming out of me. I'm claiming it.
Probably not the best expert to get in for a witness testimony on the colours of the cars, but yeah, it's a very own Piston Cup. And
speaking of Victor Mean, he's out. He was purple first sector and he's retired.
I was going to jump on board with him, and I'd seen he'd redlined his
probably
lap.
A good thing he didn't. Yeah.
I'll see who I can get towards the end of the lap. AFL, one of them.
That
might be his out lap. So interesting
that
thing
puts
here.
SUFC in the best position he could be at the moment.
So to give you a little summary, I suppose then, folks, SUFC needs to finish within the top 6. Now I'm not gonna tell no, a little thing for Victor Mean. That's a joke. My wheel just fell off. So I don't know if that means his wheels fell off his rig, or the wheels just fell off the car.
I think it might have been on the car. I'm not
too sure. Either way, hopefully it doesn't happen again for his sakes. But yeah, back to that. SUFC, to win the title, he needs to finish in the top 6. Now, there is a total of 12 scenarios that SUFC wins the title tonight, and a total of 17 that Victor Mean wins the title tonight. Anything other than those, a combined 29 scenarios, it goes to Mark Wilson. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. We're not going to go through them live. We'll sort of take it as it comes. Topher then just caught up to the line. I must admit, folks, I hate intermediate qualifying sessions because you can never tell who's on a flying lap and who's not. Partly due to the flashing light at the back, partly due to the tyres just lasting a lot longer. It really throws me off the boil. Spider Rob, though, or Spider as he is called now, seems to be on a lap, so we'll ride on board with him while I waffle on for a little bit.
7 temps up through sector 2, which is what we like to see from the Aston Martins. I think that the track's getting a little bit better. You can see the drivers going a bit faster now. Yeah,
the dryness starting to come out, and of course, you know, a lot of these drivers, I'm guilty of it myself, Dan, you might be as well. Spider does go P3 provisionally with 55.230 up there with the same sort of time Murphy put in his initial lap. He's improved to a 55.0. SFC though 7 tenths clear at the front. Big hopes in the championship fight. Victor Mean on that front as well needs to finish 8th or 9th with the fastest lap is the bare minimum he needs if everything else goes his way. So it is really, I suppose, get your abacuses out. You know, join in with the fun, because you know, letters and numbers aren't probably my best game, so we'll try our best. I'm going to jump on board then, Dan, with AFL for the meantime. We haven't really had a proper onboard through this lap as it comes through the comms, or the famous turn left corner where you ruin Visa or FER. I'll almost forget what team he's in. He's not quite as bad as some, but it's FER these days. Down then into turn 10 of Bruxelles. I don't quite know how to pronounce it. It's obviously a little bit of an accent to it. 11 then, no name corner, as it is affectionately known, before the long left-hander of Puon. A tricky corner, Dan. Of course, you can catch that inside curb and really lose the car, unsettle it. We've seen it a number of times. 13 and 14 then, the right and left. Again, the curbs can play havoc here. 14, of course, the turn off campus. Before 15, the right-hander of Stavlaw, or Stavlot. Again, you're asking a Scotsman to pronounce European names here, folks. It's never going to be brilliant.
Yeah, I think the drivers are doing the right thing, staying off the curbs in the wet. It just unsettles the car too much. You may as well just lose maybe a slightly little bit of time and make it round the lap, because if you retire, you're just going to be bad news for you. So there's some curbs you can take, like these ones here, just kiss the inside of it. But yeah, that long left-hander, the poo on, yeah, no need to touch that, because otherwise you are in the wall. Absolutely.
AFL then in the championship battle, not quite in its full A, but there is the one raging on between himself and Marshall not here tonight. AFL looking to claim P4 in the title. P6 for him in qualifying. A 55.589 was marginally behind or ahead of somebody who's went and improved. I think it might have been Tomo Tip-Top. It must have been. He's just coming up through Eau Rouge. So the battle's raging on. It's interesting to see though, Dan, like you've said, get a lap time in. Don't be too brave. Keep it safe. Maybe the last few minutes we might see some maybe not some mistakes, you would say, just some drivers pushing extra hard to try and get a good lap in. Curley then is going to get his first lap of the session in a 157 flat. P14 beating out on BX37 Pro, Big Ben as we like to call him, from his historic name of course, but he'll be looking to improve on that. But again, it's a safe banker lap at the moment. 3 minutes 50 seconds remaining, so time for a couple of laps to go, but you'll notice it yourself, Dan. I've got a habit of doing it. I'll waffle a lot through quali because the 18 minutes just flies by.
Yeah, that's it. I'm happy for you to waffle, mate, because I've got no idea what to say. I'll just sit here, watch the drivers. You're absolutely right, though. You can see they're pushing a little bit now. A couple of yellow flags, but I think that's just people going slow. It might be. But yeah, get yourself out now, get a little bit of fuel in the car and do a couple of laps. Why not? The conditions will be a lot better. You can see, with the exception of a few, everyone is going to be on the track for these last 3 minutes.
Absolutely. Trundle's there, as you're saying that, coming through the 16th of, I don't even know if I want to attempt to pronounce that. There's 3 words and they're all Belgium. He does go up to P12 though, with a big mistake there costing a lot of time, so definitely potential for him on the coming laps. Of course, qualifying a very different game here in the intermediate conditions. You don't lose the same ERS, you recover a lot more as well, and you can do these back-to-back laps. You're not really worried about the tyres wearing out, the tyres overheating. Big shout out then to the man I mentioned previously, Marshall, in the chat. Love to see that. Sadly can't be racing tonight, but wherever you are, great to see you tuning in. 12 of yous in the chat already, despite Tier 3 as racing as well. Normally we get a big influx towards the end of the Tier 3 race, but 12 already. We've done our job at hyping up this event maybe so far, Dan. And, hopefully it lives up to it. I want to see a nice 22-lap race of clean, exciting racing where the championship battle hopefully swings every direction it can possible, and it comes down to maybe a last lap overtake by one of the drivers. That would be incredible. Mean Moody then is coming through that turn 16 where we see how Trundles made the mistake. Good to see him back as well. Had a little bit of ill health last week, kept him off the grid, but he's back this week, back in the Mercedes, and we'll see what kind of lap time he can do this time. A 56.2 is best so far as he comes through Blanchimont 17-18, really using that track to its full extent without being illegal within the limits, using the bus stop again, like Dan, you said, using as much of that curb as he can. Thomas Tip Top then has retired on the exit of No Name.
On track. Sector 2, I think. Oh no, no. I can't see what's happened. It's tough to find the driver that's there. Yeah, just coming out the right-hander.
Yeah, Curly looks to be
Curly just coming past him now. He is blocking the track as well. I know it's not his fault, but that's not the best way to have the car.
He is provisional P3 at the moment, of course. So he's done a solid enough job so far, given the time he's got. He's going to maybe miss out on that last final run.
I think his teammate is about to go faster.
Jump on to
I think that pretty much cements the pole. Which, that's going back to your point though, that's going to be an interesting scrap to see Mark Wilson and Victor Mean have to come from both right at the back, 19th and 20th.
So I'll give you a little bit for, just for instance, the bare minimum. Murphy got close to the lap time, Dan, a 54.3. He'll be quite happy with that. Rob Spider is on a lap. But I think the next, or the last sort of to get the final run in will be AFL. The teammate McLaren will jump to him. But let's just say, SUFC's in the best position. He needs to finish 6th to have any chance. Then he needs Victor Mean to finish 8th or lower, or 9th or lower if he has the fastest lap, and Mark Wilson to finish 12th or lower. Which, given the two of them at the back of the field, it's not outside the realm of possibility. Victor Mean's chances are a little bit lower than with that. And AFL, is on an out lap. He won't complete a lap time. Mark Wilson then, of course, the ball is in his court, but, starting at the back, anything can happen, especially around a track like this. Mighty Atom up the line, finishes his last lap, does not improve, stays P15. There was a Mercedes behind. That must have been Mean Moody. Up to the line next then will be... I think it's Scooter Claim. It must be Scooter Claim. Yep, he's diving into the pits, so he's not. He's made me look a right fool there. Trundles, though, half a second up on his time coming through the bus stop chicane. The right, then the left. Get the foot down as early as you dare. And up to the line for a 154.7.
Speak about the man behind him. He was 6 tenths up coming out of Sector 2. I knew it was going to be close, but fair play. He's almost a second faster than his time. That is what we like to see from the fellow Aston Martin.
Big improvement from him, from Rob. Speaking to him beforehand this race, of course, a little bit of insight. He's hunting his maiden win, and he's feeling that this could be a chance tonight. And when you put him as 9 tenths off pole at the moment, you wouldn't write him off it completely. Topher then up to the line for the Ferrari. Ferrari in an excellent position in the World Constructors' Championship. Of course, they'll be tier 3 to go into that, but I believe they are about 150 or so points clear, with a possibility of around about, off the top of my head, I think it is 55 points per race. So it's not sealed, but a good performance from the likes of Topher or Duncan in at the reserve down in P14 tonight could see that. But that is qualifying, Dan. SUFC, 3rd place in the title challenge, 11 points off the top, P1. His nearest rivals, Mark Wilson, of course, with the Qualiban, who's leading the championship in 20th. Victor Mean 7 points off Mark, 4 points ahead of SUFC in P19. It shapes us up an interesting one.
He set himself up in the perfect position. He's done. He couldn't have asked for anything better than this. To be perfectly honest, there is no other scenario that would have been better for him to start this race.
If, say for instance, folks, SUFC wins the race, then Victor Mean pretty much can't win it, because he would need to be no less than 2nd with the fastest lap, and the only way you can get more points and coming 2nd with the fastest lap is by winning it. You can't do that as FUFC's already done it. Mark Wilson then would need to be, 3rd or higher third or second essentially, or have the fastest lap as well. If SFC does have the fastest lap, then Mark Wilson needs to finish third. He can't get fourth on the fastest lap. It's going to be...
It's all maths. We've got no idea to the end. I'm not like... Because it could happen where they're like first, fifth and eighth, and I've still got no idea.
I'll try my best to keep these up to date though, folks. I have got a little table, shall we say, where all I need to do... Out. Yeah, exactly. I've got a spreadsheet set up with some pre-made formulas that all I need to do is punch in some numbers and it should hopefully tell me who's winning. That's the theory, Dan. We'll wait and see if it comes into play. Well, it will come into play, but how it comes into play. And second of all, let's be honest, it's only as good as a man putting in the numbers. And well, I'll try my best.
To go back to the race, I'm looking at the paddock chat. It's looking like it's a wet to dry to wet race. So,
it could ask go for everywhere. Anything better, Dan?
It Genuinely. Could go absolutely anywhere.
3 drivers all in the hunt. It's monsoon season here in Belgium, and well, the sun's coming out at some point by the sounds of it. How hard will it come out? How fast will it dry up? Will it go just to enters? Will it go full to dries? Safety cars, virtual safety cars, of course, they'll slow down this Grand Prix. They'll stretch out the time scale for this race, Dan. It could be a wet to dry to wet to dry affair for all we know. Look at all those umbrellas in the grandstand, though. That's a beautiful sight to see.
I'm just going to get mine out quickly. I'm feeling a leaky roof.
There could be a leaky few things here tonight, Dan, in this battle. We'll wait and see. Full grid then, as we expect, on the blue stripe wet compound tyres. Of course, if it was to be full wet race till the end and no safety cars, these could go the full race distance. Tyre wear isn't going to be much of an issue. Of course, it's always better to be in a fresh set than an older set. However, it's not quite the same as the wets, the dries or the inters. So yeah, tyre wear not going to be much of an issue tonight for our drivers. Fuel management could be, because I sometimes suspect, we all know, Dan, you know, you've had your fair few incidents with this. Sometimes you underfuel for a race and it all goes completely wrong. So I wonder if somebody's overfueled, underfueled, and just got the numbers wrong. That could affect the race. We'll wait and see.
AFL and Hasbulla DSQ, I'm going to just assume that Hasbulla decided it was time for him to go to bed and wanted to get things done with him.
It has. I mean, if the points were decided on the formation lap, Hasbulla would have had a straight win and a couple of bad results. Formation lap, thankfully, you know, it's a shame if anything's happened between the two. They're obviously going to have colder tyres, which in conditions like this, disastrous. You want as much heat, much energy into those tyres as you can. But hopefully it's maybe just an honest little mistake. We'll wait and see with that. But yeah, formation lap etiquette, not the best, it must be said. But the rest of the grid, they've been pretty good this season with that. We haven't seen a lot of shenanigans like that. I think aside from Singapore as well, Dan, we haven't seen a lot of bumping into each other under safety cars and stuff like that, silly penalties for no reason. It has, in CRL's 100th round season, the longest season ever, and arguably the most competitive season. When it comes, you don't just look at this grid, you look at the whole league as a whole. It's so much faster than previous seasons, which means the top end of this tier is so much faster.
100%, mate. It's you can see here just how fast it is. And like you said, not just this grid, like from experience in Tier 2, me going from the Championship battle in Tier 2 to P11 in the Championship, it just shows the quality of everywhere. But the race is about to get started, so I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, like you say, 2 seasons ago, podiums in Tier 2 for me. Now I'm irrelevant as anything. It really has spiced up, and some of the times these guys are setting, they're not far off top end tier 3, bottom end of tier 2. It's just maybe that little consistency. But who will be consistent for the next 22 laps? That could define this championship season, as we are lights out and away we go for the Belgium Grand Prix. SUFC getting a decent start off the line, but look at Trunders coming up through the middle, going down the inside of Rob into turn 1. There's plenty of movement at the back.
Contact.
Yellow flags galore up the back. Mark Wilson up into P19. Victor Mean up into P13 already.
I was just about to say he's gained. He's about to get another one, I think. This is what we wanted, Scott.
Oh, it's all loose through Eau Rouge. There's a Ferrari there with wing damage. Victor Mean getting forced off the track a little bit with Scooter Clay. Dan, we're going to struggle here tonight. Here comes
I've got no idea what to do.
What is that line speed? Oh, he's gone for a move down into Le Combs. Makes contacts with BX37 Pro. The two of them just about keeping it going.
Lawnmower mode has turned on the Alpine.
Dan, we are going to run out of lung
Look at
capacity by the end of the night.
Temple's gone.
Mark Wilson then up into
P13.
Victor Mean up into P11. SUFC holds the lead. Danielle, if you think you're stressed, how do you think
Temple's having a stinker. And he's round. Jesus, what is going on at the back? Wow.
Absolute scenes of the start. Good thing though, all of our drivers are about to save through unscathed, but Murphy has lost it on the exit of Puon. Temple's out.
Steven.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised that's not a safety car. 2 retirements within about 3 corners. We're down to 18 runners here then.
Was. Ooh, that's a suspicious one.
The exit
Temple
of
is a suspicious one.
Turn 11, of course. No name corner. It can be a tricky one. We've seen. We've seen a few incidents maybe in qualifying. It is a full course. That is the. Alright, are we just deciding now that we'll fire safety cars out for the sake of it?
Yeah, it's fine. It's uncleared, but let's just come out.
I suppose the marshals were being safe. They were waiting for the cars to despawn before they got on the track. So it's going to be a lap 1, technically lap 2, start safety car. I love that. I love that in the comments. Commentating this is goated in this tier. Much more exhilarating than anything I've ever experienced, and then just laughing facing at us too. That's been lap 1.
There's no
folks.
professionalism here, just loud noises. That's all it is.
It generally is. There is. If you wanted data analysis and the top tier performance indications of what's going on, I hate to tell you folks, you're in the wrong tier. You have got the more beginner tier for the drivers. Of course, it's still a very good standard of a tier, and comes with that is a little bit of chaos, a little bit of madness. And speaking of madness, Dan,
I was about to say there's something. I was going to bring some analysis. Topher has changed for the Inters. Not sure how it's going to go, but I mean, why not? Why not try it?
Now, I don't want to say anything because if we refer back to, was it last season or I think maybe the season before, Hedgehog 11, of course. The track was
You're
made.
absolutely right. I forgot about that masterclass. Never mind.
Made everybody look silly, including the commentators, including half of the tier 1 drivers in the comments telling them, in no nicer terms, you're absolutely stupid. And he made it work. He timed it to perfection. We'll wait and see.
Oh! What has Curly just done?
Just a comment there, Marshall saying Curly's got damage, question mark.
Yeah,
well, he's got more than damage.
And then drove into the rear of the Mighty Atom. What has he just done? What is going on?
I wonder, now I am going to put my tinfoil hat on here, Dan. I've seen it a few times in this game, and we know that there isn't really a rule against it. It's obviously if your AI car causes incident, then you are ultimately held responsible. But I've seen it a few times where the AI, Dofer's really struggling on those inters. You put it in AI mode under safety car, thinking I can have a braver, I can maybe get a drink, maybe, have a toilet break, such and such. And the AI just decides that the cars in front aren't going quick enough, and it wants to just batter on and go at a stupid speed that isn't really suitable for conditions for a human driving. So maybe Curly has just been absolutely screwed over, like I think we can all say, by the AI. Nope. Forget all that, folks. I've just waffled on for a solid 30 seconds for nothing. Curly has confirmed he just couldn't see a thing. I respect the honesty. As
yeah,
so far,
it's going to be what Scott? It's all going. What is going on?
Topher has almost apprehended the rear of Mighty Atom, I think is an ample phrase for it, and decided
well,
that
he's
it's
already been pelted once. No, I think he tried it. He knows he'll be able to catch up the safety car. He tried something. He just knows it wasn't going to work. So why not?
I mean, yeah, it's sort of something to like you say, sometimes you roll the dice, and every now and again your number comes up, but chances more than others it isn't going to come up. And sadly for Topher on this occasion, it hasn't. Saying that though, you know, he's still gained the position on the Mighty Atom. I'm assuming he must have had a front wing change under that safety car.
Yeah, he was the one that unfortunately Curly went into the back of and spun round. That's what happened.
An interesting comment there. I love to see this sort of engagement in the comments tonight. 19 in already, Dan. This is incredible. I've never seen
just tier 3's finished, mate. They've come to watch the good stuff.
Oh, they've all bumped up. They've all heard that me and you are in here together and decided let's watch a couple of.
They probably heard the shouting from their rigs. To be fair to you.
But yeah, Marshall putting in next thing on 23, of course, next year. I'd say next year, next month. 23 out. Red flags are a thing. It would have been interesting to see how that would have played out. Could we have had a red flag and how that would have affected the weather?
I think there was a car retired right next to the track. He didn't go off track. He was right in the racing zone essentially. I think that would have easily been one. It will be interesting to see how they integrate that next year, because is it just going to be full of bugs, adding a lot more into the game, or will they actually execute it properly? Now it's EA that make the game, so I'm not holding out for any hope, but it's wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's wishful thinking is the thing. We all know EA, they like to spring a bug on us every now and again. Personally, I'm a little bit hopeful, and I'm excited. But from what I've heard of the game, to see how this community grows, how many leagues at this time of the game cycle get a 20 driver grid, in tier 4, the lowest tier. We've got it here tonight, folks. I can't wait to see where this league goes coming 23, and there'll be a little bit of testing with the red flags before that. But before all that happens, Dan, we've still got a few more laps to go here in Spa. SUFC safety car in this lap. He's went very early on the rundown to the bus stop chicane, not leaving anything to chance through there, and seems to have got a little bit of a jump. Of course, it's wet racing. These gaps are going to be a little bit longer because the cars are moving a little bit slower. So we'll see how that goes. Wuban looks, I don't know if he's caused the yellow flag with a half spin.
Up, I think.
So it is coming out the chicane on to the restart. He's let AFL through. Ghost Angel 1 looks to have had a spin on the exit of the chicane. There's a Aston Martin of Hasbulla going wide on the exit.
What is he doing? Hasbull is up. He's come off the track. That's one for the stewards. That's all I'll say. It's one for the stewards.
Yeah, the only thing. Ben out. Sorry,
Rouge. They're dropping.
I'd just like to say we've had 5 retirements in 4 laps. If you extrapolate that over the whole of Grand Prix, by the time we get to lap 20,
we're not doing this again, Scott. We're not doing this again.
It could be incredible. Luckily though, luckily or unluckily I suppose, hard-coded into the game, the safety cars just came in. I don't think we can get a safety car this lap, so it is going to continue under green flag racing for the moment, folks. But we are down 4 laps in, 5 retirements. Hasbulla looking to be, I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt, losing it on the exit of turn 1 on that little sort of sausage curb and off into the wall on the right hand side. BX37 Pro into the wall up Eau Rouge, and
another yellow flag.
Oh, another one. That is
mean. Oh no.
Losing it through Puon, the current P2 in the championship, of course, 7 points behind Mark Wilson. Now he's 4 positions behind him. I'm not sure. Looking at the front of that Mercedes.
Talking of Mark Wilson, though, by the way, 12 positions in the first 4 laps. Yes, 5 of those have been DNFs, but he is doing exactly what he needs to do.
Absolutely. Of course, depending on where, and Victor I've just caught it as well, coming through turn 16. This is not what he needs.
Oh, no.
And he did look to have an intact front wing. I don't know how intact it is now. That fastest lap changing positions. Keep an eye on that as well, folks. That could come into play in this battle. But the top 4, breaking a little bit of a gap here, Dan. And if you're SGFC, you're rubbing your hands at the thought of this, because you've got a nice little gap. Your nearest competitor down in P8 and P14. Of course, though, 5 retirements in 4 laps. You wouldn't bank on this race going uninterrupted or uninteresting to the end.
You're absolutely right. Like I said, I've got no idea what's going on.
I'm going to give him a little shout out. Of course, co-commentator for the majority of the season. He's been an absolutely excellent lad, and I think you can all agree he came in with a little bit of commentary experience that has grown over the course of the season. And not just that, I think there was a few comments where they couldn't understand at the start. Hopefully our Irish has all got a little bit better. But thank God it's not me and Leroy tonight, because I would have reverted into just screaming. He would have reverted into just stuttering as Tomo Tip Top goes wide through Pool. And that was a bit unnecessary call out for him. But it's over.
He's out. He's out. Victor Mead. Oh no. And it's a safety car.
Of course, safety car, Dan. And one championship hope slithers into the night and away from us all. 0 points. I'm going to put it in the spreadsheet now. 0 points for Victor Mean this race, regardless of any Stuart and shenanigans or incident shenanigans. It's not going to happen. I can delete half my spreadsheet now. I know that sounds really nasty, but I can. I'll move that over here.
He's very, very unlucky. He has been, evidently one of the fastest drivers in the tier all season. It's a shame to see it end like it, but I'm sure he'll hold his head high with how he's done. There's very tricky conditions on a very tricky track anyway. It just proves to be a little bit too much.
Absolutely. SGFC, he can still get P2 if something disastrous happens to SUFC or he scores less than 4 points. He can't catch Mark Wilson, of course. He's retired. He can't make the 7
something to keep an eye on. Mark Wilson has just put the inters on and he's had a wing change. So does he maybe think it's getting a little bit too dry out there for those wet tyres? Cars going around the track?
See, I wonder if maybe... of course, all the info I've got to hand, I made available to the Tier 4 drivers because I thought, they should have this information there. So I wonder if he's looking, SUFC in first. He needs to get up towards that top 4, that top 3. Roll the dice, have a gamble on the inter, see what it's like under the safety car, like we've seen Topher do. Topher, back on them as well. Baker and Ghost Angel 1 going for fresh wets here, Dan. But, yeah, that's sort of... back to what I was saying there, Victor Amin. 8 podiums, out of 15. Cracking results that. 7 points off the title going into the race. Now, it's very, very rarely that we have a couple of tiers tight for battles. We've got a two-way battle in tier 1, a two-way battle in tier 2 going into the final, and tier 3 is wrapped up, and a three-way battle here in tier 4. So these drivers have done tremendous. And again, going back to our point, Dan, say this was 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, maybe even last season, with how quick the grids are now. Last season we weren't looking at a title battle between SUFC, between Victor Mean, between Mark Wilson, because they would have been in the mid pack, maybe even the top pack of tier 3. That's how quick these grids have got. So on the night,
a lot of drivers coming in at the start of this season. Which means plenty of reserves, plenty of opportunity to race. But you're absolutely right. These drivers have taken the challenge of dropping a tier just sort of grabbed it with both hands. Really, it's like Mark Wilson, like you said, mid pack tier 3. He's come down and he's in it.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in the fight.
Like Mark Wilson, a perfect example of what tier 4 and tier 3 and in general, to me, Cohen is about. He came in as a tier 4 driver, bit of pace, bit of inconsistency. Well, I'll be honest, quite a lot of inconsistency. Had the pace at times and made little mistakes here and there. He's perfected that consistency. You know, one retirement, which, if I'm being honest, was the DSQ last time out. So is that a proper retirement? You could argue yes, you could argue no. But to go a full season with only that on your record, from a driver that used to be constantly up there and spinning out, to being a driver that has, this season, 2 wins in 3 seconds. Now, he's had the least podium sitters out of the top 3 going into the battle this night, Dan. You don't get top of the championship battle by having the most podiums and the most wins or whatever. You get to the top of the championship by being consistent. You know, it's not about who wins the most,
right,
it's about who has the most bad nights.
So I'm going to use myself as an example once again, just to toot my own horn a little bit. Last season, you know, like I said, I was in the championship fight until the last race. Well done to Carl because he won it, but I only won 1 race, and that was the last race of the season.
There you go.
I was in the title fight and I hadn't won a race. Like you said, it's all about consistency, keeping the car on track and finishing the races.
Well, I'm gonna one up you here, Dan, and you're gonna love this.
Please do it.
Tier 2. Look at it this season. Liam Cross in the Ferrari is 30 points clear going into the final race. He can't race the final race, which, you know, it would have almost guaranteed him.
He'll be there, don't you worry. He
might find a way. T. Griff, of course, a driver, previously raced in Tier 1. He's dropped, I don't know if he's dropped assists or changed peripherals, you know, from pad to wheel, or maybe a mix of the two. He's changed something, I can't remember off the top of my head. He's 30 points adrift. So he can win the race if he wins it and get, like, fastest lap. Because the caveat here is there, even if he wins it on a countback, because the first countback rule is who has the most wins. So if he wins that, I don't know quite off the top of my head, but T. Griff has at least one. Liam Cross is 30 points clear of the Tier 2 championship with 1 race to go, and he hasn't won a race this season.
Yeah, it is magical from him. But we're in Tier 4, Scott. Let's go back to...
I know.
We've got reordered in the chat. Jerry, mine is massive, mate. People that watching the stream can take that out of context how they like, but mine is massive.
I thought he was talking about 4 heads there, which, I mean, to be fair... to be fair, we're both quite guilty on that stage. Safety car in this lap once again, Dan. Going to be lap 8. We'll get back under our way with the racing. 15 laps to go. Still pretty wet out there, but...
That's it. It's going to be interesting because you've got 3 drivers on the Inter, Scott. And we have no idea what the conditions are like because we can't talk to our engineer. We haven't got a clue if it's a crossover point. All we have to see is their pace on the track.
We'll wait and see how it occurs. And of course, one of those drivers on the intermediates, championship leader, championship contender, Mark Wilson. He's in a 2-way battle now. It's between him and SUFC. Victor Mean on that, saying he picked the wrong setup and he's off to cry.
There has a comment has come in as we go racing again. Are we going again? We are going
back again.
Danielle saying we've got to shout out to Scott because you put in major time and effort into commentating. It makes it enjoyable for us all to watch. So I'm just going to go to my room and pretend I don't exist.
No, thank you very much for that, Dan. Yeah, I love bringing the coverage of Tier 4. I've said it many times this season. This is my favourite tier because of the development, because of you just get to see so much action. You get to see drivers find their limits, find where they are in the standards, and improve so much.
It's another one. We've had more time. Oh, this is.
We're on course for a retirement per lap, and 20 drivers, 22 laps here, Dan. We don't have the numbers to make that happen. Not until Andretti or somebody else joins us, you know, the grid in a few bit. Well, sub me in. And to be fair, at the rate I'm going this season, I'm probably more suited for Tier 4.
Just one thing to note though, those Inter drivers, Mark Wilson's keeping up. He's not slow.
Absolutely not. He's doing good pace with those in front. Little gaps for him, and of course you expect that in the wet, Dan. It's a little bit harder to follow cars. You've got to give that little bit more of a braking zone, of a turning zone, of an acceleration zone. And of course you've got to be that little bit more careful in the throttle. So although it says, you know, it's maybe 7 tims, 8 tims, if it was in the dry, it's about 2 tims, something like that. It's a lot tighter than the number suggests. Mark actually getting a brilliant run on Scooter Climber, goes wide. Yellow flags up ahead, and it's Spider from P3.
Oh no, he's doing it on purpose. He wants to join us in the comms.
Spider might be joining us if he does have a retirement on track in the comms, just because we predicted there'd be so much action going on. We thought we'd get him, of course, a tier 2 commentator once again. Brilliant to have him on board. Mark, though, looking mighty quick on these intermediates. He's having a little bit of switchback, using a little bit of the ERS, tucking in behind for the slipstream. Fastest lap of the race.
He's on a mission, as he absolutely big-brained it.
Mark Wilson, we have, of course, in CRL, the I Am Stupid Award. If we had that I Am Brilliant Award, this could be a nomination for it by the looks of things on the intermediates. It's bang on the middle of the crossover, Dan, and every lap, I think it's going to get a little bit tighter. He's struggling a little bit, though, up through Eau Rouge, but
I think it's Duncan's setup, though. He's absolutely rapid in a straight line. He is, looking at the telemetry, Duncan was 10 miles an hour faster in that straight, and they both had full throttle, 8th gear DRS on. So those wings you can see there, look how much gap Mark Wilson's just closed in that 2 corners. I think that Duncan's wings are almost non-existent for these sort of conditions.
All about the straight line. We'll figure out the corners when we get there. Yeah, definitely coming through No Name. Then Mark Wilson all over the rear of that Ferrari. There's a little straight line though from No Name to Pouon. Ferrari just pulling away. Then Pouon, the gap closes back up. Mark having a look around the outside. A little moment from the Ferrari.
PG, sorry.
That's twice you've been in my commentary box this season, and twice you've sworn.
It's always me.
Goes for the switchback though, does Mark, gets it done.
Good move.
And this is what I'm talking about. The top end of these drivers, particularly this season, they are so ready for the upper tiers, and I suspect I'm going to be racing a few of them next season, maybe in tier 3, maybe even in tier 4, who knows where I'll end up. But there's some, and I think, to quote Mr. Danny Mac from 4 seasons ago, yes, all the way back there's some real racing articles here already. Mark Wilson then, his next opponent.
All over the back of that.
Into the pits they go. It's intermediate time by the look of it, Dan.
Absolutely. Mark Wilson may have absolutely smashed this strategy. He is flying. Topher as well. Look at all the inters.
Topher, Atom putting in that now. This is by no means disrespect to Atom, but Atom has been a driver. He's been with us for a while. He's struggled this season. He's in the battle for the wooden spoon in tier 4. He's putting the fastest lap. That's what I mean. A man like this, I love this, Dan. I nearly swore myself there. I absolutely love this. This is brilliant. You can
see everyone will be. I think those wet runners now are going to be going into the pits for those green wall tyres, and I think, well, it's just great. It's what we wanted, Scott. We wanted entertainment. We wanted different strategies. It's great.
And of course, as well, it does harken back the weather. It's approximate. It said wet to dry to wet. Maybe it's a little bit longer ahead than this. We're halfway in. We're on to the mediates. Maybe it'll be a similar thing towards the end. Now, I'm not trying to put anybody's, as Topher on the intermediates. Sorry, jump in, puts the first 3 seconds on the board. Great running again, 10 laps in, the first pen we've seen, but maybe we could see a switch to dries towards the end. Trundles then on the hards is chasing down SUFC. He is riding the gearbox of that Alfa Romeo. Just under 2 tenths between them in wet conditions. That's incredible. That is such close racing, of course, when you factor in the conditions. Are either of them going to pit now, Dan? FGFC does pit, Trundles does pit.
That puts Mark Wilson into the lead.
Into the lead, and not just into the lead, it's going to give him approximately 10 seconds-ish of an advantage. And you look at that, you know, if you harken back, last lap, the Alpine of Mighty Atom putting in a 2-minute 2. Mark Wilson's just putting a 1:59. That's
Tomo
3 seconds quicker. Tomo,
sorry. He's going to be gutted because it's running P3 right behind them, but because his teammate also pit at the same time in SUFC, it's going to have cost him at least 5-6 seconds in the pits.
I'm just thinking as well, now, I'm not going to do the maths, because let's be honest, we're not here for the Constructors' Championship. We'll let the big boys in Tier 1 and Tier
Absolutely
2
not.
finalise
No one
that.
cares about that now.
But Topher, P2 for Ferrari, it might be enough, depending on the results in Tier 3, to wrap things up for them. Which, as a former Ferrari driver and sort of ad hoc Ferrari manager, I'd like to say, go on the Topher. I love to see that. But Mark Wilson, though, Dan, I think the key thing we're looking at, he's got a 9.7 gap to Topher. If I go from interval to leader, it's 15.9 to SUFC. Now, yeah, obviously, if Mark outscores Victor Mean, which he's going to, if he outscores SUFC, he's got he's already leading the championship. He's won it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting because because it depends. Because obviously Mark Wilson 5-lap holder tyres. Do you reckon he's going to pit again? He's got 11 laps left.
So that
I don't think he'd need to, will he?
Intermediates generally and now I might be wrong. And if there is anybody that knows better in the comments that can let me know. My understanding is intermediates are pretty good for about 3/4 race distance, and in the last quarter they go a bit naff. So he's bang on that 3/4 length time. So I think for the most part he might be alright. But then Dan, safety cars, virtual safety cars. I mean, we're down 7 runners. It's been a quite few laps, but as conditions start to change, as maybe people get desperate and go for a move and start to gamble, anything could happen, and that could really shape things up. Mighty Atom, I've got to say, hats off to this man. One of the oldest drivers, not in the division, in the league. Is hunting down Topher, and he's doing a decent job. He's catching him here and losing time there, but the 3 seconds for Topher to score 1 point, I believe it is, the whole season, Dan, and to come into the final race halfway through and running a net P3. Now, I have no insight into the Atomic household, but things must be going absolutely pandemonium right now. I love to see this.
Honestly, if I was in the position, I'd be panicking. You've got no idea.
Look how much he's catching through No Name on the run down to Puon.
He's touching the inside curve though. That made me a little bit nervous.
He's touching it, but he's holding it and he's catching once again, having a little run and a little look. He's trying it around the outside.
He's going for
it. This is why I love to commentate this tier. Jamie in the comments, Indigo, of course, our T3 commentator. I caught a little bit of your start of your stream, mate. Brilliant stuff as always, you and Glowstick. Love to see it. Glad to have yous here.
Well, I mean, I'm just not getting any love tonight. I'm not sure.
You'll get plenty of love.
That's right. No, it's fine. That's it. It's fine. It's fine. It's actually fine.
You'll get.
But no, there you go. Mark Wilson just cementing it. Like he is on a bit of a mad one right now. He's still 15 seconds to SUFC. He's kept that 15-second gap.
And not even that. He's pulled out. FUFC striking back though, showing he's got the pace. The only difference, of course, like you say, he's got that 15 seconds to make up. He's also got a few cars to make up. Nah, Dan, we've got a lot of love for you. You are.
I know. I do now. Here you go.
You are.
I feel better now.
Previously, yeah, there you go. Danielle as well saying, "Oh, we've got a retirement. Well, we're gonna have a third commentator. He's in the pit." Oh, I'm a bit ashamed to say that. You could have had points here, Rob.
That's yeah. No.
But at least he's done it right. Yellow flags up. Oh no, Rouge.
I'm waiting. Get that farmer accent in here right now.
But yep, and Indigo saying Daniel Collier the boxer. It'll be the MMAer very, very soon. Must be said.
It will be. It will be. I'm not going to do a shameless plug here though. We'll wait. We'll wait.
We'll wait. Yeah, we'll wait a little bit. We'll get that for next season. But they've totally disrupted me because I was going to make a joke saying you were the third most useless head admin and then you became the fourth. As Wuban gets alongside AFL just for a moment out of no name, down to the run to pull on. Can't quite make it work and tucks safely in behind. Big shout out then to Rob. He is our
here he is.
8th retirement of the night. But our third commentator for a mad race.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, holding P3 for as long as I did, and then it's my own fault. I took my eyes off the screen for a second and clipped the wall, wing damage, and being at the back. If I'd come in again, I wouldn't have caught up. So, is what it is.
It is what it is. Just thought I'd jump in. Third place, like you say, you're running it for a while. There's an interesting battle creeping in here. Mighty Atom is closing in on Topher at points through the lap. He's used a lot of his ERS to do so. SUFC had a little look through Blanchimont, of course, a little run down to the bus stop chicane. Thought better of it, you know. He knows he can't go for anything too risky, not at this stage. He's got to try and, you know, if Mark Wilson wins, it's all over. He needs to beat Mark. And if he does win and gets the fast lap, he still needs Mark to come
sorry, Wuban's a bit of a tank stapper. He's having a bit of a battle with Toro Tip Top and Duncan, I think it was, coming out of turn 1. Loses the rear a little bit, but speaking of the mighty Atom, SUFC is past him.
Yeah,
he did well to defend for as long as he has, to be fair. Let's face it. I mean, Atom's not had the best of seasons, but to see him up there with the top runners, is what we want to see.
This is what we love to see, mate. It's exactly what we wanted to see.
To be fair, big comment from Nathan. I was asking earlier on, like we were saying, Dan, Nathan saying no idea if Mark's inters will make it to the end. And when you consider...
That's exactly why the last 5 laps, I think, are going to be... You've got to keep an eye on. Because he's got that gap. He's 16 seconds, but that's going to drop quick.
And especially if there is, God forbid, for his sake anyway, a late safety car. SUFC's got 5 fresher lap inters.
Speaking as a driver from, obviously, that's just come out of the pits, I can tell you that Mark on the radio was saying that he is expecting it to dry up towards the end of the race.
So maybe what we had predicted, the wet to dry to wet, is going to just turn into a wet to inters to dry race, and that could really spice it up because it's all about the gamble. Mark Wilson, you can see these lap times are coming down. It was 2-minute 2s as Topher really just gets out of the way. Really pulls out of the way. I'm not quite sure why, whether he's just not wanting to get involved in anything too serious, or whether he's playing the long run here and just trying to sit behind and maybe find some breaking points. Who knows? Trundle's now having a look, making a little bit of a contact into turn 1 between the two of them, a little nose to rear end, but nothing too malicious there. Mark Wilson will be praying to the Pirelli gods as well. Gets a free second where we're just praising him very, very mightily. 3 seconds to the end of his race time. 8 laps to go if you include this, of course. And the times, they're coming down here, lads. I'm going to have this. I was nearly saying Dan there, but we've got Rob here as well now. We went from 202s to 159s to 157s as Wuban makes the move on Tomo Tip Top at the end of the Camel Straight. But we're slowly creeping down on the lap times. The track is drying out.
It is drying. Scott, just to clarify, is it just a 2-man race now for the title?
Yes,
right,
completely. Yeah, in fact, I mean, DNF, he was in P2 in the championship charge. No points available to him. It is purely between SUFC and Mark Wilson. SUFC needs at least a top 6 finish, but if he finishes 6th, he needs Mark to finish 12th or below, which, when you look at the left-hand side of your screen there, folks, well, it's a little unlikely that he's going to finish below 12th, but he could still finish 12th.
I think it's all down to the setup, though. Like, look at... Like, SUFC's just lost almost a whole second in that last two sectors. I think this first sector, you can see there, look how much time Mark's pulling out. It's those straights. It's the setup difference is evident. You can see, you'll see here, it's 16.7. Wait till SUFC gets to the end of the straight and you'll see it drop. But just that last two sectors, I think Mark's got, he's just got the wing advantage.
There's the fastest lap from SUFC, set at 1:57.8, so it's still anyone's game.
Absolutely, it really is a toss-up between these two, of course. As it is, Mark Wilson winning the titles. Topher loses out to Trundles in the exit of turn 1. But maybe a little insight there, Dan. Brilliant from you, mate. Like, the lower wings. We had predicted that it was going to be dry halfway through this race. It's not came. We're 16 out of 22. We are over. More than over. I tried to say there just very, very quickly. The 3/4 of the way as Topher goes down the inside at the end of the Camel Straight into turn left, as Jeroen would call it. Lecombs officially. But yeah, maybe a setup more akin to the dry race conditions for SUFC, and if it dries up fast, it dries up quick, which let's be honest here, folks, we've seen this game, it dries up very quick and dries up very suddenly, and it can catch you off guard. Could play into his hands late on. Reminder, it's a little bit simpler now. If SUFC finishes first with not the fastest lap, Mark Wilson, he wins the title, even if Mark Wilson finishes 4th with the fastest lap. If Mark Wilson finishes 3rd and above, SUFC wins, he wins it completely. If SUFC wins the race with the fastest lap, then Mark Wilson needs to finish at least 2nd. So, that could be a possibility, that final one.
The time's coming down as well, boys. It's coming.
It's creeping down, Dan. And SUFC has the fastest lap. So it's not outside the realms of possibility. We've still got several laps to go. It's just to emphasise it.
He's on a mission. But we've only got 5 laps left.
15 seconds, exactly. 6 laps if you include this one, Dan. We'll teach you how to do the maths once you become a professional full-time commentator. You always add 1. You do 22 minus 17, add 1 because they're on that lap. But there you go, a little insight. Mark, Nathan, head admin, I love it, mate. We should have you in the comms box. Why have you never done it yet? But saying that he needs Mark Wilson to get a puncture or drop down the order to win here. He does, yeah. Or a safety car. A safety car could really play into. It could play into either or hands, depending on the timing, because there could be the potential gamble as Wuban makes the move up into P8 ahead of Thomas Tip Top down at the end of the Camel Straight. Ghost Angel 1 into the pit. I'm assuming it's a front wing change, or is it a big roll of the dice from the German driver? Oh, it's a tasty one! Oh, I love to see that Ghost.
It's still raining though.
It's maybe a little early, but it's a roll of the dice. You're in last with not much to play for, to be honest.
Why not? Oh, he's spinning it
there you go.
Bambi.
There you go. That's it. I think that just says everything.
This could be spicy. He needs to keep control.
I suppose you put it in.
Could this cause the safety car?
This is what I was about to say. If he does not keep control of that car, we could have a last-minute safety car on our hands.
Oh no!
Just as well, you know, this is a battle for the wooden spin between him and the mighty Atom. And Atom up in P3. Yes, he's got a 3-second penalty, but he's still on probably net 3-4. And
I'm getting reminders here, boys. I'm having flashbacks to 2021.
Oh, this is
anything,
those tires ain't the one.
I appreciate the spirit. You have Ghost. There's a little pun in there for some of you, but it might be a slight
like Bambi.
It's Bambi on ice or Ghost Angel 1 on softs in the wet, whatever way you want to look at it. And to be fair, he's doing well to keep it going in a straight line.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Fair enough for the for the thought, but
the commitment's
it
there.
was a bit too early. Mark Wilson is coming up to him.
Yeah, There's going to be blue flags on the track very, very shortly, and if he doesn't get out the way, it could cause an incident.
I'd be fortunate enough.
Is he going to move? He's coming up to him. Oh,
Ghost
no.
Angel 1 will ghost regardless because he has a lap down.
I'm panicking.
So it won't have too much of an impact. I'm going to jump on board just back because we've got an interesting battle for P8 at the moment. Tomo Tip-Top getting down the inside of Wuban in to turn at number 10.
Just to save the drama. No drama here. Just pull the side, Mark Wilson's gone.
Brilliant stuff though from
getting
Ghost.
a 3-second time penalty.
You know, respecting the blue flags, things we love to see. Daniel saying, "My heart is pounding. I cannot deal." Daniel, how do you think I've felt? I've had to commentate this the full season. I've had every turmoil, every up and down. I know you've been sitting there as a partner and a sort of substitute race engineer, but I've seen everything. I've not missed a thing, and it's been absolutely crazy, and I've loved this season. Ghost into the pits then, realising that maybe dry tyres on a wet track isn't quite so good unless you're doing a YouTube challenge for a large YouTube channel. You know, maybe that's something we could monetize here on the CRL. Wuban running wide through Blanchimont as he tries to run up on Tomo Tip-Top. This sort of mid...
Tell you what, it's a hell of a scrap at the back, isn't it?
It's a brilliant scrap. All the way, you know, AFL isn't much of Duncan, and Tomo Tip-Top ain't much of AFL, and then you've got Wuban's scooter claim, and even Baker 1.5. Remember, it's intermediate conditions. Those gaps are a little bit... exaggerated in the wet. It's a
We've got Danielle
scrap.
in the chat saying she's the Toto Wolf of their household.
No, Scotty, no, that was so not right.
Thankfully, I'd imagine if I was controlling the safety cars and the red flags, that would be absolutely crazy as Wuban, speaking of crazy, almost contact between Wuban and Tomo Tip-Top, almost very reminiscent of what we've seen between Hamilton and Alonso in years gone by. But the two of them, Tomo Tip-Top goes for a move down the inside into turn 10. That'll turn to the outside, little bit of contact, and Wuban's lost out a bit of time here to the Alfa Romeo. Get his elbows out here, lads.
Wow.
Well, I'm just on board with Atom at the minute as we go into the last few laps of this race, because to be fair play to the underdog, he's still holding provisional P3, but the P4 and P5 are slowly catching up.
No, you're absolutely right. The tyres are coming into play now as well. You can just see.
Oh, it's a big one! Trundle, sorry to interrupt, lads, but through turn 16, I just caught on board him because he was catching up with Topher. That key battle. Remember, Topher's got 6 seconds of penalties. Mighty Atom with 3, so as long as he holds, it doesn't really matter. Trundle's on nothing, was catching up. Turn 16, lost it on the rear into the wall, and it's wing damage for the Williams. And you know, I'm a head admin, I'm a steward, I shouldn't be biased, but come on, the Scottish boy, he's on for P3, go on my son, let's go!
This is it as well. If we get through this lap, there will be no safety car.
No, this is it. No, this is the end of safety cars.
And crucial as well, I got very out of character there, I don't know who that was. Mark Wilson, of course,
you just teleported and you just shapeshifted into a kilt. That's what happened.
To be fair, though, we want to see him on the podium. I know, like you said, we're supposed to be biased, but Atom's not had the best of seasons. He's always had those on-offs when he has been racing for Cone, and now he's finally up there. Is this the start of the Atom era going into Season 9 in the future?
It could be incredible. A little update then with the championship. Mark Wilson, of course, at the moment on for the win. He doesn't have fastest lap, but he doesn't need the fastest lap. 30 points here tonight, 286 total. SUFC 24 4 seconds, 1 bonus point for the fastest lap. If you only see him go to 270, Mark Wilson would win the title by 16 points. And of course, unfortunate for Victor Mean, the other Scotsman from the other side of the country from Atom, it must be said, and local rivals to my home team. So, you know, no bias there once again. He would stay on his 249. But again, to emphasise what we've already said, all of these three really deserve the title. Any other season, they could have been on the brink of mid-table tier 3 probably even, the pace Mark Wilson, SGFC, and even Victor, at times, they could have probably fired for podiums. And I must admit, I occasionally race as a reserve in Tier 2. Dan, you know this. And HFC pumping in that fastest lap time once again just to reassure him that. But he's got so much time to catch up in so little laps. But the amount of times, Dan, me and you, we race together whenever I do race. And the amount of times I've said, my qualifying time is slower than pole in Tier 4.
That's exactly it, mate. The gap is the skill gap is just almost non-existent between, or I want to say all 4 tiers, because there's a lot of the top of Tier 2 that could go up to Tier 1 as well. It's crazy.
It's mental. Yeah, like you say, the top end of Tier 2 could easily go into Tier 1, and the bottom end of Tier 2, like me, could easily go into the top end of Tier 4. Tier 3 is sort of just... it's the licorice all sorts of... It's the selection box of Tier 3. Like you say, if we were to restart the season at this point, we wouldn't know who to put in it. That is genuinely how it is shaping up.
This is why I keep pushing behind the scenes for Tier 5 next season.
Well, the only problem with that, Rob, is I've seen we do have a couple of questions with that, and Dan, I hope you don't mind addressing it on behalf of the admins. A lot of people forget that it's not just 20 drivers for a tier.
No, it's...
And I think it's an ample time here. Our reserves, we have had a number of reserves this season. They have came in when we've asked, when we've called. There's been a driver absent. There's somebody that can't race. Can you race?
They've been there.
And
They
have, Rob. They have said, yes, I will race here tonight. And we need maybe 5, 6, because not every reserve can make every race, and not every full-time driver can make every race.
Go for a woo, man. Side-to-side through Sector 3, sorry to interrupt, but this is some good racing.
Quite alright, Dan. Brilliant racing. Wooman running a little bit wide through the exit turn 16. Here comes Scooter Clem, the Welshman, who came from the GT League, and what a season he has had. I must admit, I have got a driver for the season, not the top 3. It's got to be up with this man here. He has had a brilliant season, the Welshman, coming from the GT side of things, getting an introduction to F1, and he's not had amazing results, but he's had good enough results, and a big shout out to him. Alongside the reserves, like I was saying, and alongside, like I say, driver of the season for me, it's got to be Danielle in the comments. She has been my best co-commentator I've had, and she's still, even now, commenting away, giving us plenty of love. And I hope you've not got much else planned for the rest of the night, Danielle, because it looks like there's going to be plenty of celebrations coming through. Pull on then. Mark Wilson, 12.6 seconds clear. He's on the 16 lap old intermediates, and it looks like they're just going to make it to the end. And
he's gone from last to first. He's in a Red Bull. He's CRL's Max Verstappen.
Exactly. This, if he does, of course. I'm not gonna make it as a guarantee, but I think he'll make it through this final sector unscathed. It would be his 3rd win of the season, his 6th podium. 6 podiums out of 16. You might think that's not great, but when he's not been in the podium, he's only DNF'd once, and it was because he got disqualified due to a stewarding incident. We'll not say too much on that. Nope. So out of 15 races, it's been 6 podiums. The rest
corner.
P4s, P5s. Mark Wilson rounds the last corner, like you say, crosses the line, and he is your Season 8 Tier 4 Provisional Champion. And what a worthy champion it is.
What a drive from Mark Wilson. Like you just said, Rob, last to first. He had it all against him.
His title champion. Apology, just to jump in here, lads. But Mighty rounds the final corner. He's gonna get BP. He's gonna do it. Go on now, boy.
This is it. We're seeing the start of the Atom era going into Season 9. I want to see him on the podiums in Season 9.
Showboating across the line as well. What a bloke.
I can't handle this. I can't handle this, lads. We've got what a title battle this has been. What a season this has been. And to sum it up, I think of how amazing this grid has been. You've got the guy that scored 1 point the whole season, coming in P3 on the final race. And this, bear in mind, folks, this is our tier 4. This is our bottom tier. This is meant to be for the guys that are just getting into the game, maybe just getting into the league racing side of things and trying to perfect that little bit of craft. And when they're doing stuff like this, you know, I don't want to, you know, contradict myself here, Rob, saying we might not have the numbers, but tier 5, oh, you know, who knows? We'll wait and
I'm just
see.
saying, don't rule it out.
Don't rule it out, don't rule it in.
Eventually happen.
It's a thing, personally, I would love to see. I'm sure Dan, Nathan and Jacob, the head admins, and the rest of our admin team, likes of Rob, a newly found admin here on tier 4, would love to see. But
I don't think the news had got out just yet, Scott. I think that's an early announcement you just made there, mate.
Whoa!
Oh, I'm not making any announcements. I'm just. Oh no, you've been. No, you're fully in with the admin. It must be said.
Oh, sweet.
But announcement that should be made pretty soon, barring any Stirling controversies. Which, to be fair, it seemed to be an incident.
Caught up in any of it.
Neither him nor SUFC nor Atom seem to be caught up in anything. Mark Wilson then, P20 to P1, takes his 3rd victory of the season, his 6th podium, but most importantly for him, he takes the championship here in Tier 4. Season 8 Tier 4 champion, Mark Wilson, joins the illustrious list of other drivers, and some big drivers on that list, of course.
I'm right
Warrior
in saying
Huntsman.
that's his maiden championship as well, and that's the first one for him.
Maiden championship. He started off in this division, he's raced in Tier 3, came back down, like we said earlier on, and he's really made this division his own. And it, you know, I've said it before, I don't think I could separate and say that any of these top 3 were undeserving, but Mark Wilson maybe the most deserving, and he's proved that tonight. And of course, let's not forget, there's a little bit of a prize that goes with that, Dan. We'll disclose all that a little bit later on, but the most obvious one, Mark, I hope you'll be back for us for next season. You get to pick a track to race on. I mean, that's a prize in itself.
Mark,
I don't know if one of you
just
want
a nudge. Miami.
Not trying to influence anything at all,
No.
but yeah.
No.
I don't know, but
or Vegas.
if one of you lads could invite
I'm on it
obviously
now.
Mark,
Don't you worry, sir.
SUFC Atomic, and even Victor. I mean, I know you're still in the comics there, mate. Reese, as you're normally, or your government name, I suppose you'd say. I'm quite happy if Victor wants to join for a chat to get him in, but I think I'm going to start things off pretty early with these interviews because
Scott, you know what you want to say.
God, what an interview this is.
Go on,
Adam,
Scott, go on.
1 point the whole season, 15 rounds, 1 point. It's P3 tonight, mate. Oh, you must be buzzing. Hey, I couldn't have put it much better myself. I remember, Adam, you first joined this league. You were quite a newcomer to the racing scene. You've been with us for a number of seasons, on and off, here and there. And the development, you know, 1 point in the so far this season, and it's not for a lack of trying, and it must just feel so worth it. I'm hoping to see you to continue improving to next season. I'm hoping to see you back next season, of course, before even thinking about you improving, which I don't think is much up for debate. It's I must admit, as a fellow Scotsman, it's brilliant to have you in here.
You're making me emotional, mate.
Just to interrupt Dan, Scott, before obviously we move on, I just want to say, Adam, we've come a long way since season 5.
Guys, I can't hear him on YouTube.
Well, they can't hear.
No! Sort it out. Restart.
It's. I want to see more of you up there, Adam. These last few races, obviously racing alongside you, you've improved from down there to every race you've got better and better and better, and I want to see it keep going now, mate. You're flying.
It does, especially conditions like that. I don't know. I'm assuming. I don't know if you've been able to change your settings at him. I don't know if maybe somebody can help him with that. If it's, I don't know. If you go into settings, I believe is it voice sharing. I'm not too sure. I don't know if there's any.
What I'll do is
Jump, Mark. If you can help him, or even if Rob, if you want to jump into a different party, just very quickly get him sorted out, and get him back in, because I don't think I can end this stream without talking to the man live on stream. But we'll get that sorted. I suppose we'll move on. Mark, I know you're desperate to get in for a chat here, but we'll leave it to last. SUFC, you did everything you could tonight, mate. You have had a tremendous season. It started off so well. And yeah, little dip mid-season maybe, and this man sitting as provisional champion, and I think, to be fair, from what we've seen tonight, looking solid for the championship, regardless of Stuart. It's disappointing in one way, but again, it must be reassuring, because you were back here, I think it was P4 last season, to be up in the championship battle. To lose it's disappointing, but you put it on pole, you did the best you could tonight. It didn't go your way, but I don't really know what I'm saying here. I'm more just waffling. How are you feeling? I think it's more the gist of what I want to ask.
Nah, to be fair, I'm quite happy. Obviously, everyone knows what happened last week, and I'm just glad that didn't affect the race or the championship. Because if I was going to lose to anyone, I'm happy I lost to Mark.
I'm not going to lie, as a steward admin, that's the sort of thing I like to hear. There is no bad blood, there's nothing like that. Yes, it was an unfortunate event last week. The stewards rectified that the best we could, and we got an action-packed race here tonight. I'm assuming you're planning on being back for next season, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to do next season. I'm going to do no assist next season. So.
Things that myself and several people love
potentially
to hear.
wheel as well. It depends if I can find a home for it, but
you're joining a man of my own heart. That's my plan for next season. FUC currently on the wheel, but currently using certain assists, mostly ABS and line. So who knows? Might even see you on the track next season. But no, brilliant to have you back. You've had again, like a number of drivers, a great development over the last few seasons, and over the course of this season. And like I said to Dan during the race, it's just the grids are so quick this year that any other season you would have been up there in the top half of Tier 3. Your qualifying pace in particular. Now, of course, I commentate on a Monday night. I reserve for Tier 2 in the first night. Sometimes I've went into a Tier 2 qualifying, put in the best lap time I can, and think, I'm still a quarter of a second off SUFC. And that is genuine speak from me. And not just myself, there's been a number of Tier 2, Tier 3 drivers, so yeah, definitely. If you do make the switch assist, peripherals, whatever, it'll take you a little time to get used to, but once you're used to it, you'll be mighty quick. And if you don't, well, might even see you on a Thursday night. But no, it's been a pleasure to commentate over you this season.
I just want to say congrats to Mark again. Basically, moral of the story is, don't watch Sheffield United against Burnley. Because that cost me, basically. So, but no, and then shout out to you guys as well. The streams have been quality. So, appreciate the hard work that everyone puts in.
Yeah, mate, it's not just me on the day. There's plenty of hard work goes beyond the scene, but thank you very much on the behalf of the admin team, Dan and Rob. I suppose it's weird having two E's here to co-commentate me. Anything from either of you two? Pick your turn and have a go.
I think I've said everything. Unlucky towards the very end. Fantastic performance. To be fair, everyone's in this league's improved since the start going up. We've all had our moments, we've all had our bad moments, and it's been a great season, so I just can't wait to do it all again.
Here to that. Behalf of a driver, steward, commentator and admin. But I think without further ado, And I think this man has been waiting on this announcement for quite a bit of while. It maybe should have came last week. We won't get too much into it because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. Mark Wilson, you are CRL T4 Season 8 champion.
Get in there!
Absolutely. Congratulations. And what a drive to seal this championship, mate. P20 following a quali ban up to P1. What a brilliant strategy call. Going onto the intermediates at the right time in the wet conditions. Danielle, your partner, has been in the chat, and by anything, the emotions have been high in your household. Not just tonight, the whole season. And I must say, I'm exhilarated to see it's paid off.
I'm pretty speechless. I don't actually know what's just happened. First of all, obviously, shout out to SUFC. He's been excellent this season. Obviously, last week was accounted for. I paid my penalty for that. And yeah, he's pushed me all the way this season. And he definitely should not have watched Sheffield United versus Burnley. But yeah, I mean, the strategy tonight. I mean, I couldn't have got it more right if I tried. I drove a quarter of that race without a wing. I don't know if any of you see that in the stream, but BX37 Pro lost it up by Rouge, and this car didn't ghost in time, and I lost a part of my wing. So yeah, it was a struggle for the first quarter of the race, but yeah, after that, I don't even know what's just happened.
I don't want to interrupt, fellas. I do have to shoot, but congratulations, all three of you. Mark, congratulations on the championship,
Thanks,
mate. Well done,
Thank
mate.
you. Cheers, mate.
Absolute pleasure commentating over it.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much. The real DC, one of our head admins, of course, joining me. Keep me company in Leroy's departure, shooting off a little bit early, but we'll continue on
Still
here.
got me, Scott. Still got me.
Still get you, Rob, absolutely. Tier 2 commentator and Tier 4 driver, so a very good input to have here tonight. But Mark, yeah, like we see, we did notice during the pit stop the front wing change, and we did say it was a roll of dice, it was a gamble. By the sounds of things, it was sound as if it was going to dry up. It didn't dry up maybe as some people expected, but you played your cards absolutely to perfection. A brilliant drive. I suppose, you know, you don't need to give away too much details and try and keep it PG-13. But what's your plans for celebration?
Oh God, how do I kick that PG?
Mate, that's all you had to say, mate. That's all you had to say.
There's my celebration there. Can I just say as well, a shout out to Atomic as well. I mean, what has gone on tonight? Atomic P3. What a hero.
I said it on stream, and I guarantee when you boys go back to watch it, you'll hear it. I think that this could be the start of maybe the Atomic era in Season 9. That's what we want to hear. It's what we want to hear. That is what we want to hear.
Absolutely love to hear that. And I suppose my final question for Mark then, of course, you know, Tier 4 champion. There's an expectation to go and do business in Tier 3. You've been rapid this season, and I've said that the gap between Tier 4 and the bottom end of Tier 2 isn't much. It's a new game, obviously. That might affect a little bit of the pecking order. I'm assuming, and I'm hoping, that you're going to be joining us again next season. What's your hopes?
I'm sorry.
Batter on. Yeah, batter on.
Yeah, I'll definitely be joining next season.
So I suppose
I will be on a wheel, so who knows?
Oh, defending his title.
Could be, yeah.
Could be. I hate to tell you, mate, you're going to have some steep competition. I'll be coming back down with no
don't
line.
worry about that,
And
you know what, Scott? I may have to dip out of
It's the start of the Atomic era as well, so you might have plenty of competition. But I love to see that as well. There's been a lot of talk. Big shout out to all the drivers in the Tier 4 paddock about switching assists, turning them off, and it's tricky. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of practice, a little bit of getting used to, but it makes you so much more quicker. And the biggest thing I ever did was turn off the gears and the like you've said, Atomic, turning off the gears, turning off that traction control makes you so much quicker. So Mark, tell Tony and Aurelian battling up for the Tier 1 title. A couple of years time, once you've got used to that, once you've got used to the wheel, you'll be coming for them, I'm telling you.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I'll be that good, but yeah, I mean, it's just been a great season. I mean, the standard of racing in Tier 4 this season has been top quality. I've been in Tier 4 now, I think 4 or 5 seasons, and yeah, I mean, this season's been the best by far. I mean, you would I would never be able to go from P20 to P1 without being taken out about 7 times in previous seasons. Whereas this time it was a lot more, you know, people have got a lot more awareness around them, and yeah, it's been a great season.
Again, can only echo what Mark said. From an admin point of view, it's been tremendous. From a commentary point of view,
can I just do a shout out as well, because she'll kill me if not.
No. Oh. Hey, I've saved it now, Danielle. You know what I'm talking about. Singapore. I've saved him once before. Now it's time to save himself. The floor is all yours.
She would love to come on the chat, wouldn't you? You want to come on it? She wants to say a word. Is that all right?
That is perfectly fine with me. In fact, I would love to speak to Danielle. Actually.
All right, there you go.
Are you sure? Danielle, how are you doing? I'm going to just start this off from a commentator's point of view. Like I said, you're my next choice for co-commentator. Let's get you a PlayStation, a copy of the game, and because you're here every week, you know exactly what's going on. It's absolutely brilliant. But a big shout out to you. It's been a difficult season. You know, you are so committed with Mark for this. I love to see that kind of thing. You're always in the chat, always saying how things are going. How's it been for you?
Stressful. But I've got to say, when I first got with Mark, I was so anti F1 that I was like, I'm never watching that. And now I'm like, everything F1 is just my life.
That's the mark of a true man. He's went from converting you from being anti F1 to listen to a Scottish boy commentate over some fake F1 that your husband, your man's playing with every weekend. That is. I must admit, that is.
I just love it. It's my Monday night entertainment.
Well, I try my best to be entertainment. It's certainly it's stressful. Wait till you get in the driver's seat, Danielle. It's incredibly stressful at times.
That's the next step.
No, I think I'll just stick to being his race engineer.
I don't know. CRL Mark and CRL Danielle have quite the ring to it.
How can you imagine?
Would it be brilliant? No, brilliant to talk to you, Danielle. Like I say.
Well, it's been a pleasure, guys.
Absolutely, been pleasure has been
all
ours
taking it off
hosting
me.
it.
Oh,
And, I hate to tell you, we might use you as a little bit of a poster for this. Like, look, even your spouse can enjoy it.
Yeah, but it would work. We should start a women's tier.
I'd have to get my Jess in on that.
There you go, see?
We could do. There has been talking recently in years of a children's tier. We've got, of course, a lot of them like to say, oh, it's only for the young guys that don't have anything to do. They go to school, they come home and race. Yes, a lot of them in tier 1 are, but there's a lot of guys, you know, I consider myself, I'm in my mid-20s, as one of the younger guys, and it's kind of proven it here, of course. I think I'm by far maybe, I don't know about SUFC, but the youngest in the party, and you've got Atom, one of our older drivers. I hate to, you know, maybe shout you out like that, mate, but P3 tonight.
He's an old fart.
Definitely one of our older drivers, just proving that this hobby and this, you know, more than just a hobby, I suppose, a community is for anyone. Oh, definitely. Things I love to hear. Oh, we've waffled on quite a bit, lads. So we end it off here then. of course, Mark, you've got the privilege of picking a track for next season. You're joining Miami. According to Rob. So that'll be something for you to certainly decide. I think there is, of course, a big shout out to our sponsors, Nick or Knight, nice little custom graphic be coming your way, and then the man, the myth, the absolute legend, 4-star, good friend of mine, James 4-star, hooking up with something related to the drag racing that goes on. I can't remember the name. Oh, this is terrible.
Santa Pod.
Santa Pod. Thank you, Mark. You've just saved my bloody skin.
Don't you worry, Scott.
Well, Scott, just to throw something out there for next season, I plan on giving something to the admins to use as a prize. I'm not going to say nothing more. Season 9, there is something coming from my work which I can throw in to give people an incentive to win.
There you go, that's exclusive. Just shows you the way that this league is growing and things are developing. But Mark, yep, they'll obviously be in touch with that for the future. Again, with our Constructors Champions, it's looking likely to be Ferrari, there'll be something like that, as we always do. And for all the rest of you, myself included, if those that have been around the block a few times know we normally do a Cone Cup. I'm not quite sure what the plans with that. We're looking at things and that. Of course, it's only 4 weeks until the new game comes out, but rest assured, if it's not an official competition of some sort, there'll be plenty of races going on here in CRL to keep you entertained. And yeah, keep out for details for Tier 9 Season 9. Bloody hell, I'm getting ahead of myself there. But I suppose all that's left to say is thank you very much to our podium sitters for joining us. Congratulations to Mark. A big congratulations to SGFC, although it is P2 in the championship. It's been a mighty season. Victor Mean and Adam. Hopefully they can hear you now. Oh, you're doing me proud, mate. You're doing me absolutely proud, son. It must be said. Rob, thank you for joining us halfway through.
Yeah,
Dan,
no worries, mate.
Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm trying to think of other commentators I've had this season. I think it's just been those two. Do Will's joined me in the past, as well as a various other, but I can't go much further without thanking the one and only little Leroy from the Emerald Isle. He has been a constant in the Co-Coms booth. Make sure then, of course, to check back Thursday night, 7:30pm, Tier 2.
My time to shine at that
exactly.
point, Scott.
You'll be in the booth for that, where we've got not Spider Rob, you're not battling out for the title. We've got Liam Cross, 30 points clear, not racing at the moment. T-Griff has him in his sights. A win for T-Griff seals the championship title for himself. Anything else goes Liam's way, and then Tier 1, I believe there is 10 points separating Tony and Aurelian. Tony, though, a bit like yourself, Mark, he has got a qualifying ban. Could we see history repeat itself on Thursday night in the Tier 1 grid? A 20th to 1st? Well, you'll have to join Jamie and Steban for that. I've been CRL Freefall, your commentator, head admin, steward, and just rascal, I suppose, is maybe a bit, I don't know. For your Tier 4 Season 8, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour, and hopefully I'll see you back here for next season in the coming months. Thank you once again, and have a very, very good